You'll have to call. At this time, I'll call the meeting of the Marshall City Council to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening. We do have an agenda before us. Are there any changes to that agenda? If not, we'll operate under that agenda. We'll note that Councilperson Craig Schaefer is participating in this meeting by Zoom. So for that reason, our votes will be voice votes. So agenda item number 1 is to consider the approval of the minutes of the meetings that were held on November 10th. The council does have the minutes of those meetings. Are there any corrections to note?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion by Jim, seconded by John to approve the minutes as they have been prepared. We will move to a voice vote. EJ, would you call the roll?
Schwartz,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Seymour Oleski,
Yes.
Wazinski,
Yes.
Alcorn,
Yes.
Burns.
Yes, and the motion does pass. We'll move then to the public hearing. The first public hearing is on the project on North High Street from North 4th Street to Oak. This is a reconstruction project. So we'll conduct a public hearing on this project, and then following the conclusion of the public hearing, we'll consider the resolution that would order the improvements and the preparation of the plans. I will call on Jason Anderson, our city engineer, director of public works, to conduct this public hearing. Jason.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is, as you mentioned, a complete reconstruction. Water, sanitary sewer, drainage between 4th Street and Oak. There's also sanitary sewer proposed in the alley behind Oak High Street here between 5th and 6th. The project also includes river stabilization around the bend just off from 5th Street. We did host a public informational meeting last week on November 18th, where we invited all the property owners to come discuss with not only city engineering staff, but MMU staff and wastewater staff as well, to get some questions out, and that was a good meeting. PIT committee also discussed this project on their October 2nd meeting. If the council does decide to proceed, the attached resolution is prepared and included in the packet. At a future council meeting, we'll have a resolution again to pass for approving construction plans. But at this time, we're considering the ordering of the improvement and preparation of plans. To proceed with this project, we do require a supermajority vote at this time. If there's any questions about the project in specific, I can try to address them. But we would recommend to move forward.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to make comment as part of this public hearing? Any input from the council as part of the public hearing?
Jason, you had a community meeting with this, didn't you, correct? Well, I don't know what you want to call it, but.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep, last week, November 18th, we had a small attendance, but it was a really good conversation with those who were there.
Very good. Other input from the council?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just as Jason said, the PIT committee did meet on this and we discussed it fairly lengthy and detailed. And I think we like the concept, and we think there's a lot of additional benefit with this improvement, primarily also along the ability to fix some of the bank stabilization also along the river there in that slide shot to our left on the example. So PIT was fully in support of this project moving forward.
Thank you, Craig. Any other input from the council as part of the public hearing? If not, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion. Second.
By Amanda, seconded by C. Discussion? If not, EJ, would you call the roll?
Burns,
Yes.
Alcorn,
Yes.
Wazinski,
Yes.
Oleski,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
And the motion does pass. We'll now consider the resolution that would order the improvement in the preparation of the plans. Any questions about the resolution? If not, is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Jim,
Second.
seconded by John. Discussion? If not, we'll move to a vote. EJ?
Lizinski,
Yes.
Mulesky,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Alcorn.
Yes.
The motion does pass. We'll now move to the second public hearing. This is the public hearing on the amendment to the spending plan for various tax increment financing districts. So we'll have the public hearing, and then following the public hearing, we'll consider the resolution that would amend the TIF spending plan. I'll call first on E.J. Moberg, our Director of Administrative Services, to open the discussion or the presentation on this public hearing, and I believe also Michaela Hewitt from Baker Tilly is available to provide input also. This is a continuation of the existing use, which would have expired on December 31st, but for the special legislation that was authorized by the 2026 legislature, or 2025 legislature. EJ?
Thank you. Again, I'll just kind of give you a little more background, and then I'll ask Michaela Hewitt, a director from Baker Tilly, our municipal advisor, to kind of give you some more detail on that. So again, this is something that came up initially in 2021 legislation that by the end of 22, the council had to set some monies aside and come up with the TIF spending plan, or the spending plan for those monies. Again, we got special legislation this past year. As also was during the legislative session, they allowed, the legislature passed for everyone to be able to get an extra year that was part of this group. But they set up some requirements that they do a public hearing again on an amended spending plan. So that's what this part is. And then our deadline would be to go through December 31st of 2027. So again, Michaela Hewitt from Baker Tilly is on Zoom. I'll turn it to her. She has worked with Sophia Leike of Kutak Rock, who's our legal counsel for bond issuances and TIF, on the, who has both have looked at the amended spending plan, which is in the packet, as well as the resolution that would ultimately be passed here tonight at this meeting, and then would be asked of the HRA later. So Michaela, would you like to?
Sure. Thank you, EJ. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I think EJ did a good summary on the action before you tonight. Again, just to restate, this is the continuation of legislation that the city exercised in 2022 that would allow additional flexibility for unobligated tax increments from 3 of the city's tax increment districts. And those districts are TIF 1-1, 1-7, and 2-1. The law was modified this year that allowed, again, all cities up to an additional year through 2026, December 31st of 2026 for spending. And the city did receive additional special legislation that allowed that extension to go 2 additional years through December 31st of 2027. This similar law or similar requirements on the use of the funds, pretty flexible on the use of funds. However, they must be used to facilitate construction of projects that would not be created without using the spending plan dollars. And the new construction will create jobs in the city and the state, including construction jobs. So tonight, the council is being asked to hold a public hearing to amend that spending plan prior to the end of this year, December 31st, 2025, to extend the use of those funds through December 31st of 2027. With that, I would be happy to answer any questions you have, or we can open it up for the public hearing.
Okay, any questions for Michaela or EJ? If not, we'll open up for comment as part of the public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak as part of this public hearing? Any member of the council have input as part of the public hearing?
I don't have input. I actually have a question. It says if we don't approve this, it gets returned to the district. And I'm not saying to do that, but I want to understand when it says return to the district, what does that actually mean?
Michaela, you want to answer that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, and I meant to also add, as part of tonight's amended spending plan, the city also did back, I believe it was in July, adopted the resolution that accepted the special law. So that first step had been taken care of. And then again, this is the kind of the administrative piece of amending the spending plan. If you chose not to approve the spending plan, then those dollars would go back to the original tax increment district, and then would not be able to be used for this special spending plan. And then within the spending plan itself, there were some kind of identified potential uses of funds, whether in geographic areas and potential projects. So if you choose not to adopt the amended spending plan, then you're not able to exercise this provision. The increment goes back to the districts. And then if they're decertified, then that's where they're effectively treated as excess increment. So this really allows you that time to be able to use the increment on potential projects within the city, and giving you 2 additional years to be able to do so.
So to put it in layman's terms, if it goes back to the district, it has to be spent in that district.
If it goes back to the district, it's back. If the districts are open, it's restricted back to the original intent of the district. So by transferring, so these funds were transferred into a separate fund back in 2022. That gave additional flexibility on the use of those dollars. And if we're not exercising the spending plan, the flexibility for the use of those dollars goes away.
So
And Jim, just to clarify quick, the city of Marshall left those TIF districts remain open, so it would go back to those districts. Some other jurisdictions may have transferred increment 3 years ago and closed the district. So if those monies would come back, they'd ultimately get turned back to the county and then distributed among the various taxing districts.
And I just want to clarify, so when you say go back to, this can't go back to the taxpayers, this is money that it gives us opportunity to spend elsewhere. And I'm trying to clarify it as understands for myself and the public. This is money for us to use as development. This is money that will not or cannot or will never go back to the taxpayer. It's money we're using as development because of the TIF collection. Am I correct in saying that, correct?
Correct.
Okay, then I want to make sure that's clarified, that, so it's in our best interest to keep this open so we can use this for development throughout the whole city. I'm trying to lay this out in layman's terms, so thank you. That clarifies it very cleanly.
One other point, if I could, that I'd like to bring up too, and the reason why there's excess TIF is that very basically, we have 2 different ways that TIF district or the TIF period ends. One is when a certain financial number is reached, and when you reach that number of TIF dollars, it shuts off. And then the other one is calendar year or calendar sunset TIF, and this money is generated by overperforming in a TIF district that had a calendar sunset. Is that correct?
I think that is correct in that the more increment is produced if the valuation exceeds what the original budget was.
Right. So it's a benefit of growth beyond the original estimate. So it wasn't that money was lost. It was that the TIF project actually was, overperformed. And so those are actually excess kind of profit funds.
And to be clear on that, right, the exercise that was done back in 2022 to confirm that these unobligated funds could be transferred to this special fund and reserved for for additional uses and purposes, is that they were additional increment, as you stated, from kind of an overperforming tax increment districts. However, the city was still able to keep those dollars because they were within the overall budget of the district. So just to clarify that, correct, they were unobligated funds that the city was able to keep and be able to exercise this law by transferring into the special fund. And essentially by putting them in these funds, it provides further flexibility for the use of those dollars as compared to not exercising this authority going back to the original district and then having a few more restrictions on how those dollars can be used and where.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you for that.
Other input as part of this public hearing? If not, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I so move.
Motion by Craig, is there a second?
Second.
Second by John, discussion? If not, EJ, would you call the vote?
Schaefer,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes,
Alcorn,
Yes.
Lazinski,
Yes.
Uleski.
Yes.
the motion does pass. We'll now move then to consider the resolution that will amend the TIF spending plan as was discussed at the public hearing. Are there any questions about the resolution?
I'll make the motion to amend.
Motion by Jim for the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by C. Discussion? If not, EJ?
Lazinski,
Yes.
Uleski,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Alcorn.
Yes.
The motion does pass. Thank you, Michaela, for joining us. We'll move then to agenda item number 4, the Studio One Cablecast System update. Sharon?
We're actually going to have Alex present this.
Okay.
So,
So we'll have Alex Peterson from our communications specialist present this item.
Thanks. Sorry, I can't change the camera. Anyway, thank you, Mayor and Council. As you've noticed in the packet, we have a quote that we received to replace the vast majority of our Cablecast hardware system that we use to get you guys on cable and on the internet. We originally bought the system in 2016, excuse me. And we've been limping it along for many years, as to the point where we can no longer get very vital security updates. So we really are at the time where we have to replace it. You'll see in there that the quote came back from a vendor up in Eden Prairie at the state contract price, which is the lowest price we can get, at $42,435. We do have a PEG fund, the Public Educational and Government Fund, that is funded by cable subscribers specifically for this type of equipment. So that fund we've been holding reserve balance in for many years, anticipating this update. We have just about 100,000 in there now. So plenty of funds to cover it. And yeah, we'd like to see this get upgraded.
Okay, thank you,
questions?
Alex. Questions?
I'd just like to make a comment if I could, Mr. Mayor. I've had input from a number of people who are regular watchers of the services that Alex and his team provide through this. And I think that we're blessed to have a very high level of technical expertise and a very quality production. And I think that, again, this is money well spent for community well served with this technology. So I'm fully in support of this.
Yeah, very good. And to clarify once again, this comes from a fund that was set aside specifically for this type of a purchase. So,
Correct. Yep, by FCC federal law.
yep. Any other input or questions?
Can I say I'm really impressed with how you're working the monitor while you're speaking?
I forgot. I actually can do that from my phone. Yeah, I forgot.
I can do that.
Thank you.
So with that, you have the recommendation. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I move the recommendation.
Motion by C, seconded by Craig for the recommendation for the purchase of the equipment, the Cablecast system update. Discussion on that motion? If not, EJ, would you call the vote?
Uleski,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes,
Alcorn,
Yes.
Lazinski.
Yes.
and the motion does pass. We'll move then to agenda item number 5, consider the quotes and award the Aquatic Center fencing and gates. And the recommendation is to award to American Fence Company of Sioux Falls. Preston, are you going to handle this one? I'll call on Preston Stendrud of our Parks Department.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Before you tonight, as mentioned, is the award for all the fencing required by code for the new aquatic facility. The line item of $150,000 is included in the approved construction budget. We just didn't include the fencing portion in the bidding process. We wanted to do it with city staff and work with companies, I guess. So we sent out pricing and RFPs to 6 or 7 different companies, of which 4 responded, and would recommend approval to the American Fence Company of Sioux Falls in that amount of $95,307. Please note, as part of the bid and part of the design, there's what's called rope fencing, like underneath the slides and around some different areas of the pool, that are originally meant to be like 8-inch wood posts, and then wrapped with a nylon rope to keep people out of certain areas. We didn't include that in this, and we are proposing to construct that out of stainless steel pipes to match all the railings in the pool. And obviously stainless steel won't rot like wood. And we can build that locally, of which we would use the remaining funds. However, I don't expect it to get even close to that 54,000. I'm thinking we're probably more in the 25 to 30, which would leave some additional funds that would just go back to kind of build our contingency as needed for the remaining parts of the project. So with that, I'd happily answer any questions.
And this can be coordinated with the other general contracting that goes on there.
Yep. So we would kind of get all the grading to finished grade, and then we'd have the fencing company get the fence in, and then we'd be ready to just do like a final till and seed and install irrigation, that kind of stuff. So it'd be right towards the end of the project. So,
Questions for Preston? The Aquatic
Mr.
Center.
Mayor, again,
Go
a
ahead.
comment if I could.
Go ahead, Craig.
So the Aquatic Center Committee met, I believe, like a week or 2 weeks ago for our regular monthly meeting on the site. And we did review this both in the construction trailer meeting and then also on site, talked in more detail about what those internal post structures in the rope fence would look like. And so I think it was, I won't speak for the other 2 members of the Aquatic Center Committee, but I believe it was a pretty solid consensus that this is a really good proposal and a good idea.
Very good. Thank you, Craig. Any other input, either from the Aquatic Center Committee or the other members of the council?
Well, we've used American fencing quite a bit in town, haven't we?
yeah, it kind of, it is varied. We have used them for numerous projects. Actually, all the fencing, when we did the amateur sports complex, the backstops and all that. And at that time, we partnered with the school, did some fencing. American Fence did. Yeah, it's worked out well.
Yeah, they've been very good to Marshall, and I think they're a good company. I believe they're out of Sioux Falls, aren't they?
Yep, this was Sioux Falls. They have other ones like Rochester and Sioux City, but Sioux Falls is what I would call our local option. So,
Any other input? If not, I'd entertain a motion on the recommendation.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by C,
Second.
seconded by Amanda. If not, EJ, would you call the vote? Sorry.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes,
Alcorn,
Yes.
Lozinski,
Yes.
Mulesky,
Yes.
Schaefer.
Yes.
and the motion does pass. Thank you, Preston.
yep, thank you guys.
We'll move then to the consent agenda. We'll bring the items up on the screen that are on the consent agenda this evening. And they include consider the approval of the liquor license renewals for 2026, consider the approval of the tobacco license renewals for 2026, consider the approval of temporary liquor license for Marshall Convention and Visitors Bureau, consider the renewal of the healthcare savings plan memorandum of understanding for 2026 to 2027, consider amendment to the personnel policy manual approving the Minnesota Family and Medical Leave Policy, consider the resolution approving the 2026 fee schedule, and then finally consider the approval of the bills and the project payments. Is there any item on the consent agenda any member wants removed for separate discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
By Jim, seconded by Amanda. Discussion? If not, EJ, would you call the vote?
Schwartz,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes?
Alcorn,
Yes.
Lozinski,
Yes.
Mulesky,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
And the motion does pass. We'll move then to agenda item Number 13, the Convention and Visitors Bureau Annual Report. With us is the Convention and Visitors Bureau Director, Cassie Weiss. Cassie, welcome.
Hello. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Oh, man, Preston's way taller than me.
There is a button, you can move that up.
Okay. I think I'm okay right here. All right. Good evening. Let's see. I better test this out. Oh, yeah. Okay. So today, just going to give an annual report on the CVB, talk about 2025 and the things that we've done this past year, as well as some travel reports that we conducted, and then talk about kind of some goals for 2026 as well. So just some marketing in 2025. I won't read through all this. I'll just mark a few things that we did. The biggest thing was our visitor guide. So we sold ads over the last year to 47 different businesses that will be featured. We print about 7,000 of them, and we put them in about 25 locations around town, as well as the Mall of America, 27 welcome centers around the state, and then we include them in any visitor bag that we distribute at different events or tournaments. We also took a lot of time and spent into our email newsletter, and we grew our list on that 22% year to date. So it's not over the full year, that's just now until basically Monday. As well as our website. We spent a lot of time doing SEO optimization in our website and saw a 22% increase in visitors on that as well. And again, that's the full year of 2024 to just year to date in 2025, and we're already at a 22% increase. So really excited to see that. And then the other thing is we are a part of a few co-op groups. So we are, I'm past president on the Southern Minnesota Tourism Association. I'm also secretary of the Explore Southwest Minnesota group. And then we're currently partnering with Explore Minnesota Film to add locations and come up with a permit process for the potential of having films happen in Marshall. So just some exciting things that have been going on. Now events, I just kind of want to talk about the few events that we do. The first one being the Made in Minnesota Craft Beer Show. We're in year 4 of this event, sold out at 350 tickets. We had 35 vendors this last year, which is 10 more than we had the year before, so that's great. Especially with the number of breweries that have been closing lately, we are really excited to see more show up to our event. And then that is a ticketed event, so we do see that about 51% of the people buying tickets to that event are visitors from outside of Marshall, and we estimate about a $30,000 economic impact just on that event alone. And then the Arts Living History Festival, we're also in year 4 of that event. This year, this event really blew up. We had 2 times the amount of vendors, 2 times the amount of attendees, and we got additional sponsorships of about $2,000. We don't sell tickets to this event, but just going around talking to people, we met a group of ladies. There was about 10 of them that were in town for a girls' weekend. So really excited to see that we had some visitors in town for an event that we were putting on. And then Christmas cocktails and charcuterie happened last week with the Lyon County Museum. Now this is definitely more their event. We just helped them with it. And we had about 55 attendees. Then the Youth Sports and Activity Expo. This last year we had 23 vendors at that, which was 3 more than we had the year before, and about 350 attendees. And that one we just really are trying to boost up our activities and our sports groups so that they continue to be successful and can host events and sports tournaments in our community. And then Sounds of Summer, this is another one we just sit on the committee for. They have a wonderful group of people who does a great job planning their event. They are in year 18, had about probably well over 5,000 people over the weekend. This year they did something new. It was called Ninja Anywhere. It was on their Friday Kids Day, and it was kind of like a ninja course that you could try out. You did have to fill out a waiver, so I did not participate this year. Maybe next year. And then the Fairbanks Ice Dogs. They will come back next week here, December 5th and 6th. So far, our sponsorships are up about $8,000 over last year. We're expecting 650 people each night. Last year, looking at tickets, about 35% of the ticket holders are visitors, and they're coming to both nights. So we're getting 2 hotel stays with that, which is wonderful. So on that one, we estimate about $100,000 economic impact.
You said your sponsorships are up $8,000 from last year?
Yeah, just for that event alone. A lot of it is we didn't really always try to get sponsors because we try to do events as often as we can without sponsors, but we've found that we need them a little bit, so.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. All right, and then tourism support. So this is kind of our grant program that we came up with in order to support all the different associations, groups, events, tournaments, and our activities that happen in Marshall. So this past year, again, year to date, we've donated $26,000 in cash donations. And then on top of that, we have our $10,000 yearly aquatic center donation, and we do a $5,000 donation to SMSU Athletics. We also do in-kind marketing for the events that go on. So year to date, we're at about $16,000 in in-kind marketing and $1,500 towards SMSU Athletics specifically. With that in-kind marketing, we'll do a lot of Facebook ads, but also some printed publication, digital billboards, and a lot of our target is marketing to people outside of Marshall. So not a lot of Marshall people are going to see our ads, but we're trying to get the people outside of town to come in. So overall, we gave about $55,000 to our local organizations this past year. And then our industry, we just continue to try to better communicate with the industry partners. So we have that industry website, we have that industry Facebook page that we continue to keep updated. But now we also started a bi-monthly tournament or large event email. And that is kind of a hand-picked list just because it's so hard to find lists and emails and not end up in people's spam accounts. So that's just a hand-picked list that kind of comes from me. So if anyone out there needs to be added to that, please let me know. But that way we know that that information is getting in front of the people that it needs to, and it's not ending up in a different folder or a junk area. We also added, you can see in the photo there, smaller visitor guide racks. So we have the 25 around town, but those aren't really, don't really work in every location. So we wanted a smaller option. So over the next few months, we're going to work with our local restaurants or other hospitality partners to possibly get those set up in some venues as well. That one is in Mainstay. They're kind of our guinea pig into setting it up and getting some pictures so we could show people what it looked like. And then we had a meeting in August with our hotels and sports associations, and it went over really well. It opened up a lot of questions that sports associations had about hotels and opened up questions that hotels could ask the sports associations. So we're going to continue doing that. We're going to do it twice a year in 2026, and we're going to invite restaurants and hospitality partners to that one as well. Just a little on our financials. I did print out our year-to-date financials for you guys as well if you have any questions. But, our direct spending, 70%, mostly marketing outside of Marshall, events, and then that community support and investment. And then our indirect spending is 30%, staffing, and then our local community marketing. We do have one other full-time employee who mostly does sales at the Red Baron Arena, but does cross over into Visit Marshall a little bit, just like I mainly do Visit Marshall now, but cross over into Red Baron. And then we have one 15-hour-a-week social media administrator as well. All right, so just to go back to our goals from 2025. So we wanted to really focus on our current events that we were hosting and the community was hosting and make those the best that they could be. So I kind of talked about that already, but just a little bit. We clearly saw growth across all of our events, which was wonderful because 2024 was a really hard year for events. We saw a lot of our events were down in ticket numbers. So we were really glad to see those numbers come back and be better than they even were prior to that. Fill out 1 to 3 RFPs for meetings and events to happen in Marshall. So we have waiting to hear back on 2, but we filled out 1 for the bicycling around Minnesota ride, as well as the MRSA spring campout. And then we were awarded the Southern Minnesota Tourism Association meeting that was hosted at the Red Baron in September. We also want to build better relationships with our tourist destinations in town. So the biggest thing we did, and I think Preston and the Parks Department, we updated all the signage on the Camden Regional Bike Trail. A lot of that was still branded the Marsh, which gives you a little goosebumps, but it was really great to just be able to update all of that. So it's a lot easier for a visitor if they aren't really familiar where they are to be able to kind of figure out where they are a little bit better, and then to be able to feature our city branding on all of those as well. So that all got updated. We also attended the Friends of Camden annual meeting. We've been working with the Frisbee Golf Group, and then SMSU Athletics, Hospitality, and Alumni Department. And then the last one, bring in 1 to 2 additional sports tournaments in partnership with the Marshall Sports Group. And this past year, there was a broomball tournament and a Frisbee golf tournament hosted. Oh, thanks. And then our 5-year goals, just a little update on these. So increased travel for expos, events, and business meetings in town. In 2025, we had the Lions Convention. We were the start and end location for the Bike MS ride. We hosted the Frontline Conference at SMSU and the Southern Minnesota Tourism Association meeting. We also want to increase tournament and events for niche sports. In 2025, like I said before, broomball and Frisbee golf. And then increase the number of state tournaments or events. In 2025, we hosted the Bantam State Hockey Tournament, and we hosted a new baseball state tournament. So that's in addition to the one we already host, and that's called Gopher State. And then we have been awarded in 2026 the NCAA Regional Wrestling Tournament. And then the last one, just build partnerships with our local outdoor associations. So we continue to have meet with our different hunting groups, the Friends of Camden group, and then the different groups at SMSU as they host a lot of events. Any questions before I move to the next one?
See, you're our liaison to CBB. Do you want to start with any input or questions?
No, Cassie's doing a great job.
Thanks.
Cassie, one thing you didn't mention was you are a regular on Twin Cities Live, I believe.
Yeah. Between Adrian and I, we had 4 shows this last year on Twin Cities Live, so that's been pretty fun.
And that's been great for promotion of the community and events in the community. So.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so then next thing I have is just some travel reports. So we did a few surveys. So this first one was out to industry partners. And I feel like we always hear about the negative, and I wanted to point out some of the really positive things that we saw in this. So what type of visitors are you seeing most? Families, sports teams being the biggest. And then when do you see the most traffic? Fall and summer being the biggest there, and spring being almost nothing. So that's something we're really going to try to work on in 2026, is figuring something out where we can get a little bit more travel in the spring. And then different events or experiences brought to Marshall. So building on sports, more tournaments, music festival, cultural events, a lot of that kind of stuff. So it was good to see some of those things from our industry partners. And then the next one is from tourists. So we sent this out to anyone who receives our email, which is just over 5,600 people on our email list, and just kind of asked, what do they do when they're in town? So typically they stay usually a day trip, sometimes one night. How do they hear about things? This graph got a little funny. So social media, Instagram, and et cetera, those are all 3 1. So that's clearly our largest way that people are hearing about things we do. And then the next one. What types of events or experience would make you most likely to visit Marshall? Holiday, seasonal events, family-friendly music or family-friendly festivals, and then live music being the top 3 there. I think one thing to note, we see sports very little in this type of survey that we did, and that's because a lot of those people who are coming for sports probably aren't getting our email newsletter, so that's why that's a little bit down. And then what types of trips do you normally take? Family trips, visiting friends and family, or based around an event are the top 3 on that. Then the last thing was just like, what do you love about Marshall? So we kind of put it into one of those websites, and it makes the words that are repeated the most the biggest. So, you know, small town restaurants, the people, the shopping, family friendly. I loved like the ease of getting around our city. It has everything that we need from restaurants, grocery stores. I think, again, like we've really, council has done a great job of just creating an awesome community for people to visit, but also for people to live in. We don't always get to hear that, so I wanted to make sure to pull out some of those things. And then 2026, our goals for next year, add 1 yearly signature event or expand a current event, fill out 5 RFPs for new events or meetings, ideally midweek, and get 2 of those confirmed. A marketing campaign resulting in our social website and contact list all increasing 25% year over year. And then we want to meet with 12 sports or activity associations and have at least 4 of those tournaments or events expand, whether that be for a half day to a full day or a single day to a 2-day. Any questions?
Thank you, Cassie. Questions or input?
Good job. Good
Comment, Mr. Mayor, I know our staff works closely with Cassie and Adri, and we're always in communication about different events or needs, so we really appreciate the partnership and the communication from you, Cassie, and Adri, so appreciate that.
Yeah. I should maybe add too that Adri is going to come to the next council and report on Red Baron. So normally we've done them together, but we're going to separate.
Very good. Thank you, Cassie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to comment too. My wife and I had the opportunity to work with Cassie and Adrian's staff, and we're so blessed there again too. They do an amazing job, and they're so good to work with, and it's an absolute pleasure to work with them on any events.
Very good. Thank you, Craig. We'll move then to agenda item number 14, consider the adoption of the ordinance amending the height modifications and yard modifications in our code of ordinances. I'll call on Ilya Gutman for this as well as the next item also.
Thank you, Mayor Council. So these are minor changes to the height and yard modification sections. They are basically a result of a recent adoption of the sign ordinance and definition changes. And the only significant thing is that we changed the maximum height for silos and for industrial equipment. We allow it now 100% increase from a regular height rather than 25 how it was before. And that basically reflects reality because we have plenty of tall silos and industrial equipment in industrial districts. So that's what this is all about. It went through the Planning Commission through public hearing and through the LNO and the recommendations were to approve it.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from the Planning Commission?
I unfortunately wasn't able to attend.
Okay. Questions the council has?
This also went through LNO, and LNO had no problem with it.
Very good. So with that input, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make
I'll second.
motion
Motion
to
by Jim,
approve.
seconded by C. Discussion? If not, we'll move to a vote. EJ, would you call the vote?
Schaefer,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Alcorn,
Yes.
Lizinski,
Yes.
Walewski.
Yes.
And the motion does pass. We'll move then to agenda item number 15, consider the ordinance that would amend the permit to move into residential districts. Once again, Ilya.
Thank you. So this is a relatively significant change, and this is a very old ordinance. It hasn't been changed or even looked at since 1976. So what we try to do is to adjust it so it is coordinated and looks and does the same thing as all other zoning ordinances. So it public hearing at the Planning Commission, appeal process and expiration date of a year. So basically that's major changes here. It also went through the LNO meeting, and the recommendation was to approve it.
Any comments from the Legislative and Ordinance Committee?
No, this was an easy decision.
Okay. Any questions the council has? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Jim, seconded by Amanda. Discussion? Would you call the vote?
Alcorn,
Yes.
Lozinski,
Yes.
Mulesky,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Burns.
Yes, and the motion does pass. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move then to agenda item number 16. This is consider the adoption of the ordinance that addresses a limit on registrations for cannabis. So I'll call on City Attorney Pam Whitmore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. So this is just a tweak to our ordinance that we passed on August 2025. We were waiting for some additional input from the Office of Cannabis Management, who was in the process of negotiating those tribal compacts. They now have a number of those tribal compacts finalized, and the compacts themselves state that any retail business that is run by a tribe under those tribal compacts do not have to register. So that is just a minor change that we're making. They also note that under the Minnesota rules, we as a city can count those, even though they don't need to register, we can count the existence of them towards our registration limits.
Okay, questions that the council has? We really don't have any real choice on this. This is
We do not.
the state regulation, so.
And so that went through LNO, and that was our consensus too, that this is, and who knows the stuff they did last week with the
Right.
Office of Cannabis Management.
But this brings us in compliant
Compliance
with the current rules out of that office.
So I will make a motion to approve the ordinance.
I'll second that.
Motion by Jim, seconded by C. Discussion? If not, EJ, would you call the vote?
Lozinski,
Yes.
Mulesky,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yep.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes,
Alcorn.
Yes.
and the motion does pass. We'll move then to agenda item number 17, which is the Southwest Minnesota Regional Airport Aviation Fuel Facility Relocation Project. We'll consider the authorization to request the MnDOT grant agreement, as well as consider engaging TKDA professional services. I'll call once again on Jason Anderson, City Engineer, Director of Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor. On May 27th, the council authorized staff to submit our grant application for this one-time funding opportunity through MnDOT for fuel tank projects. On July 18th, we were notified from MnDOT that our project was selected. In the notification letter, they gave us until the end of November to put together a grant request. So that deadline is now the end of this week. So we're here in front of the council asking for approval to move forward with the grant request letter to MnDOT. And simultaneously, we've got our engineering services agreement from TKDA, our airport consultant, to go along with it. It's a $100,000 contract, also grant eligible at a 60-40 split. So if the council sees fit to move forward, we'd like to get that put in by the end of the week. The memo does indicate that we'd be writing the grant request letter based on a project cost estimate of $1.278 million. The original grant request will likely just be for the engineering agreement, and at a later date, we'll amend the agreement through MnDOT to include the construction cost. But if there are any questions, I can try to answer them, but city staff would like to move forward with our grant request letter.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Craig, any input from the Airport Commission from your?
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, the Airport Commission has discussed this numerous times and is in full support of this and has this as one of its very high priorities to move forward.
Okay. Questions the council has? Now we'll handle these in separate motions. The first would be the authorization to request the MnDOT grant agreement.
I move the authorization.
Motion by Craig, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Amanda. Discussion? If not, we'll move to a vote. EJ, would you call the vote?
Schwartz,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Alcorn,
Yes.
Lazinski,
Yes.
Ulesky,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
And the motion does pass. And then the second item, as Jason described, was the engineering services agreement with TKDA. Any
I move
questions?
approval of the TKDA professional services agreement for project design.
Motion by Craig, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Jim. Discussion? If not, EJ?
Burns,
Yes.
Alcorn,
Yes.
Lazinski,
Yes.
Ulesky,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
And the motion does pass. We'll move then to the next agenda item, which is the agenda item number 18, the airport snow removal equipment building. We have the final pay estimate before us. So Jason?
Thank you, Mayor. Pay estimate 15, the final pay estimate is in the packet for $145,320.10. With this final payment, we'll be able to work towards moving into closeout process with the FAA. The original contract amount on the project was $2,913,100, and we are coming in just under that amount, about $7,000 under that amount with the final. So we would recommend to move forward with the final payment, and staff will continue to work towards closeout and reimbursement.
Very good. The, just a comment before we get to discussion, this has turned out to be a very good project. Very thanks to the engineering staff, our engineering consultant, and the airport commission who put a lot of work into a very good project. So, questions for Jason?
No, I just want to carry on your comments as I watch it snowing out here. We'll be using the building tonight. This, you got to remember, this project was also rebid. That it was actually kicked out once because it came in too high. So that's where I credit the staff and I credit the council and the commission saying that at that time we said, no, this is too expensive, and we kicked that original project and we brought it back and we can say here we built it under budget. So to the people at Marshall, here we built this, we kicked an expensive project, brought it in reasonably and brought it in under budget. And I think that's a credit to our staff, to us as a council, and to the contractors who built this. I just want to applaud them all. With that, I'll make a motion that I approve this pay request.
Motion by Jim, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by John. Discussion? If there's no discussion, we'll move to a vote. EJ?
Alcorn,
Yes.
Lazinski,
Yes.
Ulesky,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Burns.
Yes, and the motion does pass. Agenda item number 19 is the Redwood River One Watershed One Plan. We have a resolution to submit to the Redwood River Comprehensive Watershed on the plan. As I mentioned last time, this is a requirement before it goes to the granting authority, which is the Board of Water and Soil Resources. I've served on that policy committee. Jason, you've served on the technical committee. Any comments you want to make?
No comments. The plan has been through public hearing and they're ready to submit it. We just need to submit our resolution of support on that submission along with all the other cities and counties involved in the plan.
Questions? If not, is there a motion for this resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution. Second.
Motion by Amanda, seconded by C. Discussion? If not, all those in, or EJ, would you call the
Schroeder.
roll?
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Alcorn,
Yes.
Lazinski,
Yes.
Ulesky,
Yes.
Schaefer.
Yes.
And the motion does pass. So agenda item number 20 is the statement of annual performance evaluation with the city administrator. Earlier this evening, the council did meet to review the city administrator's annual performance. I have a statement that I'll read, which is the summary of conclusions of the annual performance evaluation. Excuse me. So Sharon Hansen began employment as city administrator on November 16th, 2017. Each year, on or about the anniversary of her employment as administrator, the city council conducts a review of the administrator's performance. The evaluation instrument evaluated 10 critical performance competencies with 4 to 5 performance measures for each critical measure, or each performance competency for a total of 48 performance measures. Each performance measure was assigned a numeric score of 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest performance level. The City Council did review the results of the performance review with Administrator Hansen at a special meeting that was held earlier this evening on November 25th. The critical performance criteria and the compiled scores are summarized as follows. Job knowledge and professional skills, 4.43. Relations with the elected members of the council, 4.43. Policy execution, 4.64. Strategic vision, 4.46. Fiscal management, 4.37. Intergovernmental affairs, 4.44. Reporting and communication, 4.6. Citizen and community relations, 4.6. Staffing, 4.39, and supervision, 4.39. So the overall evaluation for all the criteria from the city council members and the mayor is 4.47, indicating a high level of performance, highly effective leadership, and performance often exceeding the challenging performance expectation established for this position. So with that, thank you, Sharon, for your service this past year. We look forward to continued service in the future.
Yep, thank you.
Any input the council has at this time?
I'll just add what I added earlier is as a leader, Sharon's a great leader, and she makes our job, she makes us look good. She leads the city very well, and she's a very great asset to the city of Marshall. She's the second administrator we've been with since I've been on the council, and she just does a really great job for the city of Marshall and for the citizens of Marshall. And she has Marshall in their best interest in her mind as she works for us. And I really appreciate that as a citizen and as a council member.
Very good. Thank you, Jim. Any other comments? If not,
Mr. Mayor,
go ahead,
Mr.
Craig.
Mayor, I would just like to say that I think for all of the people, the audience out there listening to this, to understand that rating that comes in, over 4.3 on a 1 to 5 or 0 to 5 scale is outstanding. And it's a tough job. And Sharon is a great interface between our businesses, general public, the council, state agencies, regulators, other people, industry that we work with. So it's not an easy job, and she does it very well. So I just want to commend her and thank her for the work that she does on behalf of the city and the citizens and businesses in Marshall.
Thank you, Greg. Any other input?
Well said.
If not, is there a motion to accept the summary of the conclusions for the annual performance evaluation?
I'd make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Amanda, seconded by Jim. Discussion? If there's no discussion, EJ, would you call the roll?
Schroeder,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Burns.
Yes.
Elkhorn,
Yes.
Lazinski,
Yes.
Mulesky,
Yes.
Schaefer.
Yes.
And the motion does pass. Moving to agenda item 21, Commission Board Liaison Reports. Amanda.
I don't have any.
Amanda.
EDA met on last Wednesday, discussed a little bit more of our potential partnership with Southwest Minnesota Housing, and it looks good. I'm excited to hear back from Lauren, their response into our proposal.
Very good. Scott?
Nothing.
C?
Yeah, CVB met, and I feel like whatever report I give is going to be inadequate to what Cassie just presented tonight. But I do just want to recognize Cassie and Adri for doing such an amazing job, making sure that there's lots of activities going on in our town here. I know one of the things we talked about is that there's always something going on in Marshall. If you really look for it, there's always something happening. So really proud of that. And then Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Commission met last week, and we spent a majority of our time going over the strategic plan. And I think our next step is to try to delegate the rest of our objectives because there's such a long list of it. So we're going to delegate it and come up with either things that we've already done to have met the strategic plan or things that we can. And then we also recognized Julie Walker, who is one of our commission members, on being one of the 2025 Virginia McKnight Binger Heart of Community Honor. She won in our Southwest region, and one of our other commission members had made a note that it's really hard for anybody in our area here, in Marshall here too, ever been recognized and nominated and win. So if you see Julie Walker around, congratulate her, because she is doing a lot of great work for the LGBTQ plus community. And so we just wanted to recognize her. That's all I have.
And Jim,
I have nothing.
we'll move then to council member individual items. Jim?
Seeing since we can't see across the road anymore, I have nothing.
See?
I don't have anything.
John?
Nothing.
Craig?
Nothing.
Amanda?
Nothing.
And Amanda?
I just want to comment, every year, every hockey tournament that we have, home hockey tournament, we get compliments on the arena and our city. So I just want to, thinking of Cassie's presentation and also the city's facility, we always get compliments. And for people to go out of the way and say that really means something, so.
Very
work.
Good. We will move then to staff reports. Sharon?
I'm going to defer my time. I know the city attorney is going to update us on Broadmoor, so I'll save my time for her report.
Okay. Jason?
Nothing to report.
And Pam? Pam Whitmore,
Yes.
city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Thank you, Sharon. So I just want to give an update on the Shearholes Broadmoor Valley matter. We heard from Jason Kabushek, who's hired by LMCIT to defend the city in the most recent situation. They got a scheduling order, which means that there's dates set out for things to happen next. So discovery, meaning that the parties can exchange documents and take depositions and learn more about each other's case. That ends at the end of February. The dispositive motion, which oftentimes there's motions that can get rid of the whole case. I don't know that that would happen in this situation, but the dates to bring those motions are the end of July. And if it ends up going to trial, that trial is scheduled for a September time block. Oftentimes, just so you know, trials don't always go for the blocks that they're scheduled for. So that's the update with respect to the matter that was for the code violations related to the closing of the gate and whether we can go onto the property and apply our city code for those types of violations. With respect to the other cases that we are not involved in, I thought the council would be interested, especially since the one with Minnesota Housing impacts our community. So Judge Ireland, who's the judge who has that matter where Minnesota Housing brought the action against Shearholes and Associates and doing business as Broadmoor Valley to not close. And so there is a temporary injunction that the court granted saying that they cannot close the park until there's final disposition to that matter. That scheduling and that matter, for if it goes all the way to trial, that would not be until a December 2026 scheduling block. So I wanted to make sure the council knew that there is a temporary injunction in place from the court that was just ordered. With respect to the Attorney General's case, the Attorney General asked for a new trial and the court denied their motion for a new trial. And in fact, they awarded attorney's fees to Mr. Shearholt's attorneys. So that matter seems to be completely done. I did notice that a transcript was requested, so I don't know if there's going to be an appeal on that decision or not.
Okay.
That concludes the summary, but if anybody has any questions, just let me know.
Are there any questions? If not, thank you, Pam. We'll move then to the remaining items on the agenda, which include the information items, the public housing minutes, the November Planning Commission minutes, as well as the listing of building permits and the listing of upcoming meetings. Is there anything else to come forward at this meeting this evening? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Amanda, seconded by Amanda. Discussion? If not, EJ, would you call the roll?
Burns,
Yes.
Alcorn,
Yes.
Lazinski,
Yes.
Muleski,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
And the motion passes. We are adjourned.